Oh, that was terrible. Oh, man. I don't know what I just did. I tried to do a cool move whenever that dropped, but it was terrible. Anyways, welcome back to another episode of Extremely Average Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Clayton Hill, and it's a great day. It's a great day for fantasy football, or it was a great week last week for me. I cleared it out, man. I got 5 teams. I got 5 wins. It's been a rough couple of weeks. 2 or 3 weeks trying to assess and build. The NFL's been crazy. Games have been wild. Players we've been counting on have not been showing up. And we've had to make these decisions to stick with them or moving on and riding the hot hand. And ultimately, you got to get a win. Right? It doesn't do you any good to hold on waiting for somebody to break out if you're waiting for 4 people to break out and you're losing every week. So we've had to make some tough decisions. But it paid off. We went with a 5-0 sweep, and I'm loving it. You got to I'm holding on to that because this week might not be the same. This week might be some struggles. We've got bye weeks in the fold this week. Looking at the waiver wire or trying to do trades, making some adds and drops and difficult start decisions. So we're going to go into that today, mainly on the waiver wire. We've talked about trades, but if you can't get anybody to trade with you, you still have to look to improve your team. So today we're going to focus on the waiver wire, focus on those adds and drops, those starts, those sits, the process for that, how to make those decisions, and hopefully be confident in those, but it's not going to be pretty, especially with these bye weeks. So we got the win. We're good. I got to give a shout out real quick, and I'm sure everybody heard, I'm not coming in here and giving you advice and following up on these games or anything like that. If you want the numbers, the technical advice, stuff like that, listen to the pros. We're just here to share emotions and talk about what it's like to actually manage a fantasy football team. So if you're wanting stats and you're wanting to know who to target and things like this, stick to the pros, man. We're extremely average over here. All right, but I got to give a shout out to my boy, Deion Jackson. Yeah, buddy. Yes. Thank you, young king. We got it done, man. Deion Jackson. So I have Jonathan Taylor in one of my leagues, one of those that I've been patiently waiting on, trying to get him to show up. We've been working through some injuries. We're getting there. I have faith that it's coming. But I saw Deion Jackson play whenever Nyheim Hines went down the week before, and dude looked sprightly. And when I saw him play, I wondered, I was like, can this guy actually become the backup? I was trying to get Nyheim Hines in a trade to get some insurance for my team. They just weren't having it. Team was not, they just wanted to hold on to it. I don't know why. They just wanted to hold on to him. So I couldn't get him for anything. Dude, flipped him the bird, went to the waiver wire. And it paid off, man. And so that won me a couple of different leagues. So it's good to kind of pay attention, even if you don't have Jonathan Taylor or whoever it is. If you don't have Dalvin Cook, pay attention to the work that Alexander Madison's getting. Pay attention to how Deion Jackson looks. Pay attention to these backups, these backup running backs. This Rashad White kid looks really good. And, and I said, I'll brag on myself. I talked about Latavius Murray and going and picking him up instead of Mike Boone. Because why would you go out and get Latavius Murray if you had so much confidence in Melvin Gordon and Mike Boone? And look what happened this past week. Now, I don't know if that'll continue going forward. But I'm just giving myself a little pat on the back for these deep RBs, baby. I can't give myself, I'm not right a lot. So when I am right, we got to acknowledge it, man. Where am I sitting at right now? Like I said, I got 5 different teams and 5 different leagues. I've got one of them that's 5-1, one of them that's 4-2, 2 of them that are 3-3, and one of them that's 2-4. And believe it or not, that 2-4 team, I've actually been working on that one. That one looks pretty good. I'm pretty optimistic about it, but this week might be a stretch. These buys are getting me. Jonathan Taylor should be back in the work today or this week. Just trying to find some highlight players there. I did make some moves. We'll just get into it. We hit the waiver wire. Wan'Dale Robinson, That was my big go-to, kind of across the board for any team that I'm in need of a wide receiver, even if I'm not in need of a wide receiver. Wan'Dale Robinson has been hurt, wide receiver for the New York Giants, and he is a heck of an athlete, young stud, young receiver, rookie, on an offense that doesn't have anybody really catching the ball. So they have been plagued with injuries, and they need somebody. They need somebody to come through, and I think that can be the guy. So that's been really tough because we've had like Rondale Moore. Like I had Hollywood Brown, and Rondale Moore was out there. So it's been really tough, you know. Do I pick up Wan'Dale Robinson, who is probably the better long term? That team needs some help. Or do I go with Rondale Moore, who's probably going to get peppered tonight with targets? Do I need this win right now? Can I put it off? Can I get a win without, like can I get a win without Rondale Moore? Do I need Rondale Moore for that win? Same thing with Michael Gallup. That was another one. Those two, Rondale Moore and Michael Gallup, have been, what do I do? Rondale Moore slides in. We have DeAndre Hopkins coming back, but it's his first. Now, I don't know what his involvement with the team has been, but it's his first game back from suspension. Hollywood Brown is out. Rondale Moore seems to be that guy that Kyler Murray could just go after a lot. I mean, Hollywood Brown was getting peppered like crazy before. So I think the targets will be there tonight. I chose not to go in that direction. Arizona, their running game is hurt right now. There's, DeAndre Hopkins, the talent is there, but he just came back. I don't know what's going on there. Rondale Moore is only like a week or two back. He's fairly new coming back. It's an ambiguous situation. Who's going to play what role? I have a pretty good idea of what's going to go on, but I just don't know if I trust this offense and this coaching staff on a Thursday night where I think it's going to be a fairly low-scoring game. Okay. Well, then there's Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup coming in. Never been too impressed with him, but we get Dak Prescott back. Dalton Schultz has been he's been out. He's been hurt. And so there is a need there. I don't even know who Dallas plays, to be honest with you. I didn't even look this up. I think the matchup is not... Oh, Detroit. God, Jesus. That's what makes it so difficult. You have a guy who has an opportunity to get in there. It's an elite offense. I consider Dallas elite. With Dak Prescott, they've got a great defense. They've got two good running backs. CeeDee Lamb is a heck of an athlete, catching the rock. And so you've got a good offense going on. So I lean the Michael Gallup with a great matchup. I think that Gallup's going to have a pretty decent day. That brings us over to Wan'Dale Robinson. Okay matchup. He was on kind of a limited use last week. I think that's going to grow. They desperately need somebody. I consider the Giants, I think they're like 5-1 or something. I consider the Giants a pretty good offense. And so I just see that the road to that number one is just so much clearer for Wan'Dale Robinson. And I think that he gets more involved this week. We see that grow. And if I can skate by with the win, because it's now, my fear is that Wan'Dale Robinson has an amazing game. I'm okay if Rondale Moore has an amazing game and Michael Gallup has an amazing game, because I don't think that those are going to be so consistent. Maybe more so. No, I really don't. They're in very similar situations. I do think that Gallup's got the better team, so I would lean Gallup, especially with that matchup this week. But My fear is that Wan'Dale Robinson will blow up this week, even if he gets a touchdown. I think he found the end zone last week, but he barely had any yards or receptions. That's going to continue to grow. So if he has the targets, the receptions, the yards, and a touchdown, now it's a dogfight on the waiver wire for him. This is the week to get Wan'Dale Robinson. I just don't think that I'll have another chance to do it. So I've had to make some sacrifices. That's my big one. I went on a little Wan'Dale rant, but that's one of my big ones. So when I'm looking at that, that's kind of my process. Where's my team right now? Can I squeeze out this win without with taking that risk? If Wan'Dale Robinson does not have a good game, can I squeeze out a win still if I have to start him? Because there's a league where I'm starting him. Gabe Davis is out. A.J. Brown is out. We've got some key guys that are missing. And so I'm starting a Wan'Dale Robinson this week. And I think that I can squeeze out the win. I've got enough floor and everything else. Fingers crossed that Jonathan Taylor plays. If not, I have Deion Jackson, which I would play over Nyheim Hines. But I think I can make that happen. So can I squeeze out the win? Does my team need it? And can I squeeze out the win? My team needs a wide receiver. I just lost Hollywood Brown. So, and my other wide receiver is Deontay Johnson. That's what I'm looking at. I do have Rashad Bateman and Chris Olave, but those two have been kind of rocky. Deontay really hasn't been that true number one that I've been wanting him to be. Pittsburgh isn't looking that great. Here's an opportunity. I am fine with Deontay as my wide receiver too. And I'm fine with everybody else's wide receiver too. I think Olave will have boomer bust. He's pretty much the number one guy right now. And I say pretty much, he is the number one guy right now. Rashad Bateman is the number one guy right now. We've been dealing with some health issues. Not great matchups coming up. So for me, if I get a wide receiver one, my team is complete. That's like the last thing that I'm looking for, is that wide receiver one. So I need him. I got to take the gamble. Now, am I starting him in that league? No. We're going to get into that. But if you can't rely on trades, you have to take a look. What is your weaknesses? Where are your strengths? Weighing those out. Do you need the win this week? Will that player still be there on the waiver wire next week? All questions that I ask myself. And then where's their bye? Like, we're into bye weeks right now. You need to start looking at your players and looking at trades, looking at the waiver wire, and looking at your bye weeks. Because like week 14 for me is going to be a nightmare. So I've got to make some moves before week 14. I've got like 4 or 5 players on bye. It's kind of ridiculous. You know, also, what's your record? What's your record on your team? Are you sitting pretty comfy at 6-0 right now, 5-1, 4-2? Or are you on the bottom end of that? Do you need to get the win this week? So don't put yourself in another situation where you have multiple players on bye if you don't have to. Don't rely on trades. You know, if you have a receiving core and you don't need receivers, don't go fight for a receiver just because, because he's out there. It might be a strong player. It might be like Kenneth Walker was one that was out there, and I probably still should have gone, but I didn't want to blow all my fab this early in the season. And I have Alvin Kamara. I have DeAndre Swift, Dameon Pierce, Kareem Hunt. I have Jamal Williams to back up DeAndre Swift, too. So I have 5 running backs. It's not going to do me any good to pick up Kenneth Walker, especially in a league where trades really haven't been going on between me or anybody else and anybody else. It's just been very quiet on trades. So it doesn't do me any good to blow all my fab on a guy who I can't, I would find a way to get him into my lineup. But, I mean, still somebody's going to be sitting for me. It makes so much more sense for me to go after a receiver and wait on that and spend my fab on that. So take a look at your team, what you need. Look at your strengths and weaknesses. What's your record? Do you need the win this week? Look at the long term versus the short term. And that's where we're at, man. So if you are picking somebody up, you're obviously dropping someone. Well, last week I dropped Darrell Henderson. Same league that I dropped Kenneth Walker before Rashad Penny got hurt. I dropped Darrell Henderson, and then all of a sudden Cam Akers just disappears from the picture. What is going on? What's happening? So this is why we're extremely average over here. Don't listen to me. I mean, I've got there's probably another one coming because I just. But you know what? Darrell Henderson's not going to be the guy. It's Kyren Williams. Darrell Henderson's not going to be the dude. Go after Kyren Williams. He's on IR. Put him in your IR slot. Do that right now. So that one's not as bad. But I did have to drop Darrell Henderson to make a move. I think I picked up Chase Edmonds. It was a pretty quick one. Mostert is going to get banged up. They went out and got Chase Edmonds. Now, for whatever reason, it feels like they hate him over there. But I feel like if they have to use him, then they will. And then I dropped Chase Edmonds to pick up Sky Moore, thinking that he might blow up last week against Buffalo. This is a game where the passing is going to be so important. It's going to be such a high-scoring game. Well, didn't turn out to be that way. The second half was a little more exciting. Sky didn't get involved as much as I wanted to. And then I dropped Sky Moore for Wan'Dale Robinson. That one was a tough for me. I'm a Chiefs fan. I would have loved to keep Sky Moore, but Wan'Dale Robinson, and I think Sky Moore has an opportunity to become the number one in the Chiefs offense, and I would absolutely love that. Give me a number one with Patrick Mahomes, 100%. But Wan'Dale has that more immediate impact. I think Sky Moore is going to stay out there for a little bit. That's the other thing, like how far ahead are you in looking at the waiver wire? Don't go chase that week. Look down the road. So we ended up doing that. Who else am I looking for on the waiver wire? Elijah Mitchell. Get him before it's a conversation. If you got an IR spot and you got the roster move, go get Elijah Mitchell. Now, it's still going to be tough whenever he comes back. How healthy is he whenever he comes back? You also have Jeff Wilson Jr. in there. But I think they really want to use Elijah Mitchell more. But they are kind of a running back by committee. So how much does Jeff Wilson eat up from Elijah Mitchell? That might be a little rough. Again, Kyren Williams, I'd probably go try to get him and just put him on your IR slot. But either one of those. Dalton Schultz is on the waiver wire in my league. But this is the one where I have too many juiced up players somehow that I can't trade away because no one wants to trade. And so I'm stuck with this roster and these moves and I can't do anything. I can't pick up Dalton Schultz. And I would love to pick up Dalton Schultz right now because I have Kyle Pitts. I can't get a guy to trade me David Njoku. You're not getting Kelsey or Andrews. I would love to go out and get Dalton Schultz and let him sit, but I've got too many people. So the Deion Jackson that saved me last week is holding me up this week because I'm playing a guy who has Jonathan Taylor. So I don't want to drop Deion Jackson. That's another thing. Like, I'm in a limbo right now. I don't have a starting quarterback. Here's my situation going into this week. I have Deion Jackson. They have Jonathan Taylor. I can't drop anybody else on my roster, but Jalen Hurts is on a bye. So I'm going to be sneaky, try to be. I'm going to wait till like 9:58 in the morning on Sunday. Matt Ryan is still out there, and I've checked every other league. Every other league pretty much has two quarterbacks, and every other league has somebody starting in that quarterback position. Now, could that change before Sunday? They could add somebody and drop somebody, sure. That could totally change. But Matt Ryan is out there. Hey, David Jones is out there. Davis Mills is out there. Those aren't super attractive names, but those are good matchups coming up. I would probably go Matt Ryan, David Jones, and then Davis Mills in that order. But I have to hold Deion Jackson till basically right before kickoff and then I can dump him and pick up a quarterback and throw it into my lineup. That is my move. Because I have Wando. I picked up Wandale Robinson. I don't want to drop him. This is the team that I need that wide receiver one. And he may not even work out. But I have to hold on to Deion Jackson in 2 different leagues. Because the 2 ones that I picked him up in, somehow I'm playing Jonathan Taylor this week. So that's good. That's my sneaky little play this week is I've got to hold on to him. I'll drop him right before kickoff, pick up the quarterback. Boom, we're good to go. We talked about Rondale Moore. We talked about Michael Gallup. Gus Edwards is another one that you can kind of pay attention to. Everybody's focusing on Kenyon Drake right now in Baltimore. J.K. Dobbins has a knee issue. Kenyon Drake looked really good last week. Gus Edwards is about to come back. And they love Gus. So if you got a roster spot, that IR spot, I don't know if Gus might actually be back into playing, so I don't know if he qualifies. He might be practicing with the team. Some window might have opened, may have not opened yet. Check on Gus Edwards. But Gus Edwards, Kyron Williams, Elijah Mitchell, these are all ones that you can go get and throw right into your IR spot, and that'll set you up because, running backs are thin. That's it for the waivers. I think that's it for the waivers. We always talk about trades because trades are fun. And so active trades I have going on right now, I'm trying to, let's go over targets, right? Like I'm trying to get like a Joe Mixon. I still think Joe Mixon, like the usage that they have, the Bengals are on the upward trend. They're going to figure this out. They're already starting to figure this out. They're changing up their offense a little bit. Mixon's becoming more efficient. That window to close Mixon, if you can get him, it's closing. It's like now. You got to get him this week. DeAndre Swift, I've heard that name go around for like a buy low. I don't know if you can. He's still dealing with some health issues. I have DeAndre Swift, and I'm really like, man. If you gave me maybe a Jonathan Taylor, it's a PPR league that I'm in though. Like he just gets all that, but I would take a Jonathan Taylor. Might even take a Christian McCaffrey. These are just people that own the backfield, right? So it's going to take a lot. Jonathan Taylor is another one of those that people are, for whatever reason, they're letting go. I would hold on to JT for dear life. If you've held on this far, keep holding, baby. It's coming. Travis Etienne is probably my highest valued target that I'm going for because the breakout hasn't happened yet, but it's changing. I think I talked about it last week too. So Travis Etienne is big on my list if I need a running back. A little bit of a longer play though. Kind of tough. I think that it's going to happen within the next 2 weeks. So you got to, I would get him as soon as you can, but you might have a couple weeks to get him. Chase Edmonds, he might hit the waivers. He hit the waivers in my league for a quick second. Jerry Jeudy also hit the waivers in my league. Dalton Schultz is in one of them. So always be looking. You might be able to get some of those people. But Edmonds, Chase Edmonds, running back for Miami, you might be able to trade low for him if you've got, I don't know. I would trade dirt for Chase Edmonds. His value is so low. I think he is going to hit the waivers. You could probably just wait until then. Devin Singletary might be a good one to go get. Now, I have him. He's a little frustrating. Devin Singletary, a little tricky rascal. Sometimes you're great and sometimes you're not needed at all. So that's what I've had to pay attention to. If I'm going out and I'm getting Singletary, again, somebody who pretty much owns the backfield, but it is a high-powered offense. It's also a team that just throws the ball, and that's it. And Josh Allen is the running back. So on games that are close, that's where Singletary comes to play. So he can't be like an every week guy for me. He's a spot start flex. Kansas City last week, that was a great one. I knew that was going to be close. But if it's a blowout, it's like they don't even need Singletary, and then they just put in the backups. So you got to play that one smart. But I think that's somebody you might be able to still get low on. Wide receivers, A.J. Brown, you might be able to get him. He's got a bye week. I think he had kind of a ho-hum game last game. I don't know. Nobody's really hyping A.J. Brown. I hear more about Jamar Chase, more about Justin Jefferson, more about DeAndre Hopkins, more about CeeDee Lamb. No one's really talking about more about 49ers kid, Deebo Samuel. I just don't hear a lot about A.J. Brown. He's kind of a silent killer right now. But maybe that's just in my bubble. But A.J. Brown's somebody you could go after. Deontay Johnson, I have him, and he's been frustrating. Just Pittsburgh has not looked good, but the targets have been there. But the quarterback is like changing and switching all this stuff up. I can't rely on him. CeeDee Lamb is somebody who I would go for sure. I wasn't big on this guy, but it's CeeDee Lamb. Dak Prescott's coming back. CeeDee just has not hit his full potential yet. I think that there's still more to come, especially getting Gallup back, especially if you get Dalton Schultz back. If we get a full healthy team going on here, I think that only helps CeeDee Lamb. So he's somebody you might be able to go out and get. Christian Kirk is probably still out there. You can get him. Chris Olave, you could probably still get him, maybe, especially with the injury here and not being around and kind of a tough matchup tonight. So I don't know if you can get him before tonight starts, but Rashad Bateman has been somebody who's been hurt and a little disappointing, like boom or bust kind of a thing. But I mean, he is number one to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is so much better when Rashad Bateman is on the field that I think Bateman is somebody you can go after for a wide receiver 2. Potentially, the breakout could happen. If he gets healthy, they get rolling, especially if they get their run game going and they fix some issues on their secondary on defense. They kind of become a good whole team, which you have Lamar Jackson, you have Harbaugh. It is a good team, good coaching, high-powered offense. They will figure it out. I think you can get Bateman on the cheap right now. Chris Godwin, his window's closing. Tom Brady loves Chris Godwin. If you're not concerned with the health issues, I think you can go get Godwin still pretty cheap. I think that offense starts looking a lot better as the season goes on too. T. Higgins, why not? He's a set it and forget it when he's on the field and healthy. He's been kind of a decoy, so that might have been frustrating for some fantasy managers. If you can get Higgins, go get Higgins. I've seen Amon-Ra as an option on buying low. I don't know who's selling him. I wouldn't, but hey, I'm saying it because other people said it, and that's what average people do, baby. Sell high, Alvin Kamara, or Kamara, whatever. Say it how you want, sell it how you want. If you're concerned with his history of injuries, now's the time to do it because he's had a couple of good games. I'm riding him till the wheels fall off. But that's in a league where I have the Alvin Kamara, DeAndre Swift, Dameon Pierce, Jamal Williams, Kareem Hunt. So I can afford to do that. Now, I've tried to trade him and get some other people, and I'll list off those current trades that I have going on here in a second. But if I can get a elite receiver, if I can get a Justin Jefferson or something like that, heck yeah, man, let's do it. Sell high on Darrell Henderson. Like I said, Kyron Williams, I think, is going to be the guy. He was supposed to have a big role before the season even started, week 1, play 1. He went down, but he was supposed to have a big role before the season even started. So I would sell high on Henderson. Maybe you can sell him to the Cam Akers owner. Hey, man, I know you just lost that backfield. Here's a guy. If they believe that Henderson is the dude now, then you can probably sell high on him. I would sell high on Zeke. Zeke has been meh. Pollard's looked more efficient. If you're, it could go both ways though. I mean, you could sell high, or you could buy low. It just depends on people's perception. I think that's all over the board right now. I said as a target to get Deontay Johnson, he's also on a sell high. If you can find somebody that believes in Deontay Johnson, find somebody that loves Pittsburgh, sell Deontay. The targets are there. It's just ambiguous. I don't know. George Pickens might be the new guy. Chase Claypool had a day the other day. It's just weird over in Pittsburgh right now. Brandon Ayuk, I would definitely be selling high. This is not a team that wants to pass the ball. They don't want to give Jimmy Garoppolo 40, opportunities to throw the ball every game. They want to run. This is a team that wants to run. So I would be selling high on Ayuk. All right. Let's get into some trades that I got going on. because these are always fun because I'm the low baller, right? So let's get into some trades. I think this is completely fair. Brian Robinson, running back for Washington, the Manders, for Travis Etienne. Now, Robinson, I think that'll look really good to anybody who has Travis Etienne. Robinson gets the ground game. So this isn't a PPR league. I'll just say that. Travis Etienne is actually involved in the passing game. Robinson is not involved in the passing game in Washington. And Travis Etienne is starting to take over that backfield. Now, Etienne does have a huge obstacle. This Robinson dude has been looking awesome, kind of mad lately, but the whole team's been looking mad lately. But Etienne's got to overcome Robinson fully to get all that work. It's going to be split, but I think, I just don't trust that injury that Robinson has. I should be clarifying there. I'm talking about Etienne versus what the other running back, Robinson. I don't know his first name, man. We're average. Average people don't know first and last names. But I think that Etienne takes over the backfield for the Jaguars. I think that Robinson, he's not going to have the passing work. That's J.D. McKissick. So give me Etienne over Brian Robinson. This is the big one that I will throw out every week, and it will get rejected every week, and that is fine. Deontay Johnson and Allen Lazard and Alvin Kamara and Kareem Hunt. So for the receivers, Deontay Johnson and Allen Lazard, plus Alvin Kamara and Kareem Hunt for Breece Hall and Stephon Diggs. I want the young buck, man. I want the young buck running the ball, and I want Stephon Diggs, and he's on a bye this week. And so maybe they need some help. Deontay Johnson has had the numbers by volume only. Allen Lazard has had the numbers by touchdowns only. So if you give me Stephon Diggs, who does both of those, yes. Alvin Kamara, whatever, dude. I'm going to keep saying his name wrong one way or the other all season. He is the lone dude back there in the Saints. But if I can get Breece Hall, fresh legs, young dude, Jets are looking all right. Let's go, baby. Let's go. So yeah, that's my thought process on that. I'm also targeting A.J. Brown. He's on a bye this week. Deontay Johnson and Kareem Hunt for A.J. Brown. They need a little bit of depth in their running back room, so I'm hoping that comes through, but doubt it. Deontay Johnson and Allen Lazard for CeeDee Lamb. So clearly I'm trying to give away Deontay Johnson and Allen Lazard. The numbers have been there, but the efficiency has not. So I'm trying to capitalize on that. I can't get 3 receptions for a touchdown every week and rely on that touchdown from Allen Lazard. Plus, the guy that has CeeDee Lamb is a big Packers fan. I'm hoping that goes through. Allen Lazard and Kareem Hunt for Godwin and Travis Etienne. Now, I would really be winning there. Hunt has a lot of touches, but he's also, back up to Nick Chubb, who's killing it. So Hunt and Etienne, I think those are fairly, the Lazard and Godwin, man, if I can get Godwin, but it's just if he stays healthy. So I'm going to gamble on that one. I think that's fairly fair. And then I am selling high on Darrell Henderson and A.J. Dillon for Kenneth Walker. I think A.J. Dillon, there's no way that the Packers don't figure this out at some point. I think A.J. Dillon does start trending upwards and gets back on track. So that kind of scares me. Plus, if anything happens to Aaron Jones, my goodness, A.J. Dillon is just such an athlete. And I've got to believe that the Green Bay Packers are going to finish stronger than the Seattle Seahawks. I just got to believe that's a better team. There's no way that Geno Smith and Kenneth Walker and company is better than Aaron Rodgers and A.J. Dillon and company. Now, I know that we're talking running backs and quarter. I'm just saying the overall offense. So this is a guy who had Cam Akers too. So I'm hoping that I can get rid of Henderson and Dillon and pick up Kenneth Walker. It's a hell of a low ball here. Darrell Henderson for Devin Singletary. Just straight up. Just seeing if I can find people. That's probably the low ball of the week right there. So there's a few things that I personally have going on. This week, the biggest biggest start sit I have going on is my receiving room for the one that I ended up getting Wan'Dale Robinson, but I'm not even putting him in the conversation. I've got Deontay Johnson, Allen Lazard, and Chris Olave. Those are my three. Deontay Johnson, Allen Lazard, Chris Olave. What I've decided to do, I think that this Thursday night game is a trap. I really don't like Chris Olave against the Cardinals. There's just a lot of injuries going on for the Saints. It's at Arizona. I think the Cardinals get something going. Saints are going to have to pass the ball. I just don't like the matchup at all. I don't like that it's a Thursday night game, but I'm going to kind of use that to my advantage. Because then I have Allen Lazard, who has been productive, but on like four catches for 30 yards and a touchdown. Deontay Johnson, it's like, is Pickett coming back? Because then he's going to be throwing to George Pickens. So that's up in the air. So what I've decided to do, Deontay Johnson's ranked 18th this week. Allen Lazard ranked 20th this week. Chris Olave, 22nd. They're all kind of in the same cluster. So I am using this Thursday night to my advantage. I'm putting Chris Olave out there this Thursday night. He has been productive, even when he's the only guy out there on the field. Even when that's the only person that they have to guard is Chris Olave. He's still been productive. So I'm taking a chance on him on Thursday. If he blows up and I just need floor points, then I will probably take the Allen Lazard against Miami or against Washington matchup. If Chris Olave goes out there and skunks me, then I will probably look for the upside of Deontay Johnson versus Miami. That's kind of where we're at, but it's very difficult. So what I've done, I think Deontay Johnson and Chris Olave are better athletes than Allen Lazard. But Allen Lazard seems to somehow always find the end zone. So I feel like Allen Lazard's a good safety blanket. So that's what I'm using, right? I'm using Allen Lazard as my safety blanket. I'll put Chris Olave out there on Thursday ahead of that way I have a good idea of if I need upside or if I need a floor. It pains me to do it because I don't like the matchup, but I don't trust either of the others either. So let's go ahead, throw a guy out there on Thursday, see how he does. I also have Alvin Kamara, Chameleon. So I will know pretty soon if I need upside or if I need a blanket, and that's my strategy going into that. My other league, I have to actually start Wan'Dale Robinson. I know I've talked about him, but it's that Wan'Dale versus Gallup versus Rondale. Wan'Dale and Gallup. I gotta try to believe that I can squeeze out the win. I want to hold on to Wan'Dale. I really don't want to fight for him. That's in a league that there is no fab. It's just the waiver wire. Get in line and wait. So I'm gonna hold on to him and cross my fingers, and we'll see. We'll see, y'all. Lots of difficult decisions. Start, sit, add, drop. But go ahead and hit me up on those. Take advantage of the buys. Buy low if you're looking to buy low. But send me your tough add drop decisions. Send me any trades. You can find me at Extremely Average FF Pod on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, Instagram. Many ways out there to listen, guys. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. You can describe something if you want, but subscribe is probably better. And good luck this week. Good luck during your buys. Be looking ahead, and we'll see you next time.